some breaking news. Within the last hour at Buckingham Palace itself, a major security alert. A man was arrested outside the palace earlier this evening, and the police carried out a controlled explosion after the suspect is believed to have thrown suspected shotgun cartridges into the palace grounds. The man was also found to be in possession of a suspicious bag. And all this with just 4 days to go now until the coronation of King Charles, which, as you know, will be attended by hundreds of foreign leaders and dignitaries coming here from across the globe. TalkTV correspondent Oli Whitfield-Miočić is outside Buckingham Palace for us tonight live. Oli, what is the latest there, and what do you know more about the incident?
Well, Tom, as you can see, the area right around Buckingham Palace is eerily quiet. I was here only a few hours ago this afternoon, and there was quite a lot of tourists who were milling about taking pictures. But all of that changed at 7 o'clock when the Metropolitan Police say that they arrested a man on suspicion of throwing what they believe is gun cartridges inside the grounds of Buckingham Palace. They then say that a suspicious bag was found that was then destroyed in a controlled explosion. The Metropolitan Police are stressing that there is no further security implications of what has happened this evening. It underscores, though, I think, Tom, the huge security operation that is underway for the coronation, which takes place on Saturday. Thousands of police officers will be in attendance, not just those in uniform, but undercover ones as well. They've said that at the first hint of any sign of trouble, anybody who is carrying out any sort of things that they shouldn't be doing will be dealt with the full force of the law.
And, Oli, we can see from behind you there, absolutely nothing going on whatsoever. The whole place has been completely cleared this time of night. With the coronation coming, you expect that to be packed with tourists. The palace is in lockdown. What does that mean?
Well, it just means that at the moment there are no pedestrians who can come in here. Of course, accredited journalists such as ourselves have got passes. That means that we can get into this inner area now. But right around the Buckingham Palace roads, there are security checkpoints. You've got to get these passes to get inside. And it looks like no members of the public are now going to be allowed down here. The police have yet to say what will change tomorrow. Of course, still many tourists who will want to come to Buckingham Palace to have those pictures. I think there's just going to be a lot of intense scrutiny now on the security preparations as we head to that big day in just 4 days' time.
And, Oli, though, it's pretty quiet, obviously, where you are now. A couple of hours ago, there was a real sense of concern, wasn't there? Metropolitan Police closed down broadcasters live on air, broadcasting from the big media village just behind you there, and shifted them all out.
Yeah, that's right. A number of broadcasters were on air at the time. The Metropolitan Police came in, told them that they had to evacuate. That led to frantic scenes where journalists were having to vacate their media compound, move to a separate area 200 or 300 metres away while a controlled explosion took place. The Metropolitan Police, though, I've got to repeat this, are keen to stress that they do not believe that there is any other incidents that are linked to this. They don't believe that there's any other security ramifications that will come from what has happened this evening. Their investigation continuing to try to work out what motives this suspect may have had for carrying out the actions that he is alleged to have done.
Well, just on cue behind you, Oli, we can see there fresh crash barriers being erected by some council workers, it would appear, with the help with some redcoats, some actual soldiers from outside Buckingham Palace on duty there. That security operation, well, that perimeter being pushed back as we speak. Oli Whitfield-Miočić from outside the palace tonight, thank you so much. Well, for more on all this now, I'm joined in the studio by TalkTV's royal editor, Sarah Hewson. Sarah, good evening. Simple question. You were down at the palace earlier today, been there for the last few days. How could something like this, so frightening and so potentially concerning, be allowed to happen?
Well, Oli talked there about the security and the accreditation to get you into the media village, which is all the tents that line the gardens along Canada Gate. But there were still members of the public milling around. There were lots of tourists. I walked right in front of the railings and the gates of Buckingham Palace this morning, and there were so many tourists standing there to take photographs. It only takes one to want to approach those gates, throw something inside, and then you've got a major security incident, as has unfolded this evening. And that is what police and the security services are dealing with at the moment, as well as the threats from protesters. And we've heard talk about potential for rape alarms to be thrown into towards the horses and things, as well as dealing with those known threats. There's also the unknowns.
I guess the only solution is you just clear everyone away altogether, and no one wants that, do you?
But they don't want to do that because they want this to be a people's coronation and a celebration, and for people to be able to take part in it and gather there. Of course, on Saturday, people are going to be in front of Buckingham Palace to watch the balcony appearance and the flag past.
Yeah, really reminds you of the immense operation the police got on their hands on Saturday for the service itself. So there have been a number of incidents, security incidents, that have hit the palace and obviously the royal family over the years. Where does this one rate in that rather long list?
Look, we'll have to wait and see what the police say. There are tests underway on what was exactly thrown into palace grounds. But, I mean, last year we broke the story here, didn't we, of the fake priest who managed to get into the Windsor barracks, the Queen's guardsman, just yards away from Windsor Castle, where she was. Christmas Day 2021, a very serious incident when a man was found in the grounds of Windsor Castle with a crossbow, told police he was there to kill the Queen. She was there at the time. 2004, you'll remember the Fathers for Justice campaigner who managed to scale the wall of Buckingham Palace dressed as Batman. An intruder who got into Prince William's 21st at Windsor Castle, Aaron Barshak, the so-called comedy terrorist, and the most infamous security breach in the 1980s, Michael Fagan, who managed to get into the Queen's bedroom and speak to her while she was in her bedroom. So this isn't up there with those, but it is very serious, and the timing, of course, will be raising alarm bells. Timing most concerning. And finally, Sarah, do we know where the King is tonight? Do we know if this is going to change any of his plans tomorrow? Well, the King wasn't in residence at Buckingham Palace at the time, although he had been earlier in the day because he'd been meeting the Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. He'd also had a telephone call with Canada's Justin Trudeau as well. We imagine he had gone back to Clarence House, where he lives. He spends his time between Clarence House, Buckingham Palace, the office, and also Windsor Castle. As far as the royal family are concerned, this won't change anything. They will get on with the preparations. There are rehearsals going on tonight. There are going to be rehearsals taking place over the next few days. They want every detail to be right, and they certainly don't want this to cast a shadow.